Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Nothing But Stuff. My name is Lewis, and I'm here with my co-host,
Isaac Harwood here, and we've got so much stuff to talk about today.
Oh, we just got so much stuff. There's stuff everywhere. There's too much stuff.
We've got stuff, movie stuff, game stuff, ridiculous hypothetical stuff.
I mean, there's more stuff than we can fit in a butt.
Some might say a buttload of stuff.
A buttload indeed.
Yeah, well, I think let's not just keep talking about stuff. Oh, I guess that is the whole jam, but
it's a short podcast if we start talking about stuff right now.
Right. So yeah, I guess we hope you all enjoy the stuff.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like, subscribe, and review if you can. And should we get started on the first segment? What's the name of our first segment, Lewis?
It's the ingeniously titled Recent Stuff, where we talk about sort of things we've been up to in the last week. And oh boy, Isaac, have I had a week. Oh baby. I got two things for recent stuff this week.
Well, why don't you go first? I'll go next, and then you can cap it off with your second stuff.
I mean, that's such a great idea. So let's start off with for recent stuff, something I've started revisiting. The other day, me and Tash started watching through. Tash is my fiance, for those at home. Yeah, we've started rewatching the MCU in chronological order.
Good times.
Because it's been put back on. It's one of the categories you can look at it now on Disney. So started off with the impeccable Captain America, the first Avenger. Such a good film. I mean, love it to pieces, that film. And then jumped into something which I actually hadn't seen before, which was a short on Peggy Carter.
Okay, yeah.
Have you seen this?
I think I heard about it when it came out. I never actually watched it.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes. Well, with all the 5 minutes of credits that you always get on MCU shit.
5 minutes. MCU credits are like half of the runtime.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a short, so it's a little bit shorter. But it's just based after, I think it's about a year after Captain America disappears, and she's just stuck in this shitty government job sort of thing, and gets frustrated, and she never gets put on mission. So she's just a mission comes in, and she's just I'm just gonna fucking do that. And she just goes off and does it and comes back. And then they're just you're going to run S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's quite entertaining, though. I mean, for 15 minutes, they actually do pack quite a bit in. It's quite entertaining. So if you haven't seen it, do recommend it. It's not bad.
Yeah, a lot of those short ones are pretty good. What stuff did I do? Well, as usual, playing D&D. I guess one of the highlighted moments would be my kobold, which is like a tiny little dragon. Wizard, pacifist wizard, no damage spells at all. I basically soloed like a super wizard. I went into a tower. The rest of my team are outside fucking around with some guards or whatever, and I immediately got caught by this super wizard and tried to turncoat. I always just try and beg and grovel and cower and trying to join the enemy's team. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It didn't work this time. So they chained me up to a torture table. Yeah, torture table.
Nice.
And I tried to cast some spells when the guy left, but it
slower.
It was like negating my magic. So I'm a scribe wizard, right? So I've got a magic quill.
So you're the biggest nerd possible in the game, a scribe wizard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm basically an administrator, and I picked the lock.
You're Hermes Conrad.
And I was just about to leave. I was like, you know what? I could bamboozle this fool. So I dispelled the magic on the chains holding me down, and then lay back down and wait for the guy to come in.
Nice.
When he came in, when the DM said the wizard had come in, I was like, okay, he's in. But I just want you to know that my mage hand, my invisible telekinetic hand, is floating above this guy. But I'm not going to tell you what's in the hand. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. All right, fine. So the wizard comes over and he picks up my tail and he's like, oh, you're about to start the torture. And brings a nasty laser closer and closer to my tail.
Is that the intended accent, or was our favourite, also known DM?
Just trying to differentiate. No, he wasn't German.
I see.
And I was like, I speak in a little bit of an Australian accent, and I was like, "Oh, all right, mate, but just come a little closer. I've just got a little secret to tell you, mate." And he came down. I was like, "Don't look up." And the bag came shoving down my bag of holding, which my mage hand was holding. And inside the bag is a spider god, which we have to feed every week. And so I shoved it on the guy's head, and he just got eaten by a spider all in one, just one big into the bag. And everyone was really pissed off because that was supposed to be the big boss, and I won. on my own. So that was the other highlight of my week. Is the reason we're running late on this podcast list is because I had to get the bread out of the machine, otherwise it goes soggy. Don't want soggy bread.
No. I mean, absolutely not. There's no way. There's nothing more disappointing in this world than the disappointment you can get from a disappointing fresh baked loaf of bread.
Fresh baked.
Yes, fresh baked. I like that bread. With a little bit of butter on there, warm from the bread maker or oven.
It's something I'd like to have sex with one day.
Well then.
What was your other stuff?
Oh, my other stuff. So the other thing is that finally, only about 8 years behind the rest of the world, but started watching The Umbrella Academy. Literally only watched the first episode in about 25 minutes of the second. You like
to start things a lot later than the rest of the world, don't you? Avoid the conversation as it's going on in pop culture world. And come to it late and be like, hey, do you remember that really cool bit? And it's like, yeah, everyone remembers that cool bit.
Yeah, and I've already seen all the memes from it and everything which appear. I'm looking forward to the moment of that classic meme that's going, well, it's been out for a while now. The two driving past each other in the car. What is it? Elliot Page.
Yeah, and the little kid.
And the young kid.
Who's not a young
who's
kid.
Who's really good, by the way.
Brilliant character.
Yeah. No, but just the acting as well. Like, that guy... He's owning the screen every time he's on it.
He plays an old man so well. He's so great.
Like the dynamic of him being, just so far, like the one who knows what's going on, the most calm and the most impressive, all at the same time, and it's just played by this kid. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a good series. There are some really fucking dumb bits in the second season, but I'll let you get there by yourself.
Yeah. Oh, and also obviously. Caught up with Stranger Things, waiting for the part 2 to come out.
Yeah,
hopefully that should be good. I wasn't expecting it to be in 2 parts. I didn't know that, so I was thinking, this is about to wrap up, and then it just didn't. And I was like, okay,
I had a cool thing.
2 weeks.
When 11 is facing off against 1, I guess.
Spoiler alert!
This whole thing's going to be a fucking spoiler, obviously.
I know. We should say spoiler alert though. For legal purposes.
They're in the rainbow room and they're facing off doing their magicy poo pew at each other. Whenever the camera's on 11, the rainbow is like the normal rainbow structure, and whenever the camera's on number 1, it reverses the rainbow on the wall. And I thought
I had not clocked that.
I just thought it was a cool little detail. I was impressed.
No, that's cool. I like that. But, I mean, it's a great way of making a show cheap as well, by just having the superpowers of just people just holding their hands up, pointing at each other. No special effects.
It's the South Park episode of the mind control people. Get him! All right, I'll use my special move. Oh, no.
Just getting absolutely smashed. Just to try their best to try and go back into the Matrix and stuff. No, but I mean, it's really good so far. I kind of feel like they peaked too early with the what's the ginger one called?
Max.
Max. Thank you. Yes, I kind of feel they peaked with her like sort of cool moment a little early on. Especially because that's only the first half of the series, and whenever you go back and watch it, it's going to be like a third of the way through.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a good scene, but everyone seems to be in love
running
with
up the hill.
So, yeah. It was a very cool scene, but I just feel like everyone's like really obsessed with it, and now they've got like this sort of pop culture thing that they have to try and beat with the finale of the season. Because otherwise, the coolest moment of the show happened a third of the way into the season.
Yeah, well, I guess we could wait not much longer, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that. Anyway.
1st of July.
We're probably due to move on to the next segment. I think we've covered the recent stuff, don't you?
I think we have.
My soggy bread was a highlight. Everyone remember that? Yeah, write it down. That'll be in the gag reel. All right. So moving on, Lewis, do you want to introduce fight stuff and just tell the listeners what exactly they're gonna see, hear, experience?
Experience. So yes, with our next segment coming up here, now we've got fight stuff. Now this is very simple. We have a random generator which we've put in lots of Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp
It's
Fiction?
just Pulp
No,
Fiction
that's the wrong.
characters.
It's just Pulp Fiction characters. So it's, there's Tarantino there, and one of the items
What
is
Lewis
a
meant
foot.
to say was pop culture.
Pop culture, yes.
Slightly
Been a long day. But yes.
But
dear.
On that
Great.
note,
This is
on
show
that
number
note,
one's going
we
really
should probably
well.
add the Gimp from Pulp Fiction to the list. Anyway,
Absolutely.
what Lewis is trying
Pop
to
that right
say
in
is
there.
there's a list of...
What I'm trying to say is that I'm deeply, deeply troubled by my own life, and I can barely even concentrate. No. What I'm trying to say is episode 1 is just going fantastically. There's not a hitch so far.
That's how it goes.
I'm glad we practice. Yeah, we practiced this.
This is all
this is how it's
scripted.
come out.
I wrote down the ums and ahs and the dots and Lewis's.
Yeah, we put those 1,000 monkeys in that room with typewriters, and this is the best they could come up with. So.
Yeah, I know. I'll
Not quite Shakespeare.
I'll poison the
deal with
punch.
it. Anyway, yes, we have a list of different pop culture references, characters, 1 or 2 real life ones, but very
Jesus
few.
H. Christ.
Jesus H. Christ, of course. Unlike the very real Frodo Baggins, who lives down in Derbyshire. But then the random generator will pick 2 of them. It will put them in a location, and it will give them each an item which they must use. And we get given one of these characters each, and must converse and decide who wins the Monster v Monster even, fight stuff.
All right. Well, I've generated our roles, Lewis.
Oh, yes.
Today, you will be playing Professor X.
Excellent start. That's
with
a good
fucking
start.
rock. That's what it says. That's what it says. A fucking rock.
With a fucking rock. With a fucking
I
rock.
will play Pikachu with
Ooh.
Iron Man's armor with no boots or gloves.
Well, he can still fire
Yeah, it's
electricity.
pretty
So I
funny.
think.
I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand.
I mean, he can't fly. But
our setting. So
wait, Isaac, I've just realised as well. What is electric Pokemon type weak against?
is it a fucking rock?
It's rock type. That's perfect. I mean, that is absolutely
and the rules
wonderful.
for the location is you can't just leave, because otherwise what's the point of having the location? And no matter what comes up, we kind of just have to deal with it. So today, Professor X and Pikachu are stuck inside a tree house.
It's a very small environment.
Yeah, it's just. I'm imagining like Bart Simpson's treehouse. It's just like a one-room little, not like a tree fortress in some rich kid's garden. But just...
I think Bart Simpson's treehouse is the perfect archetype to use for this, because it's probably. I mean, you think about it. Is there a more commonly seen treehouse in the world? Unless you're talking about that like Nickelodeon program, which was like all about kids in a giant treehouse. But I think that kind of defeats the purpose.
So, I think we have to. I'm just going to ignore your bullshit, because that's how a good conversational podcast goes. I guess we need to roll. Do you have some dice on hand?
Oh no, I do not. Let me go to my drawer and withdraw my dice.
Sounds really good when you're walking away from the mic.
Well, it gets a sense of, like a natural 3D environment that we're playing into the listener's
You're right.
head
We're making
live.
a soundscape.
Exactly.
I'm trying to formulate a fart joke, but I'm going to cut it off now.
You just need to fart into
I'm
the
going to
mic.
cut it off.
Anyway, D6?
Yeah, that's good. Let's do it.
I have a D6. I got 5.
Pikachu's quicker off the mark today with a 6.
I mean, in a case of agility, Pikachu should be beating Professor
Okay,
X.
so let's start this. How the fuck did Professor X, for one, get up into a treehouse? He's in a wheelchair.
Well, I think if we go by, should we say it's? I mean, wheelchair in inverted commas. Should we say it's like the chair from the cartoon.
So he floats around.
That's like hovering.
So
then we can see.
Hold on.
And the one obviously that appears in Doctor Strange.
So Pikachu is up in the treehouse, just I don't know, like playing with some like Duplo or Lego or some shit, and you just hear that woo, 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 as Professor X just like floats up into view with his balls, and Pikachu's like Pika. That thing's over. But he's like Pikachu like dives into his Duplo set. It's like one of those like it looks like a giant Lego brick that he's got the stuff in, and as he comes out, the Lego's like wriggling around him and forming his like his breastplate Iron Man suit, so no boots, no gloves, and the helmet just kind of clamps over his head, and he goes Pika. And I think he has
Jarvis, by the way. I mean, I think that should be.
Jarvis is
the viewers. It's got all the it's got all the functionality of the
Jarvis
suit.
is just nattering away like, oh, your systems are all optimum, and Pika's like Pikachu. Jarvis is just like.
Jarvis is just sitting there, just like, I don't know what you're saying. Can you please?
Why am I here? Anyway,
like it's just trying to help where it can, but it just doesn't understand what Pikachu's trying to achieve.
It's a fucking mouse,
really.
It's a mouse. So yeah, Pikachu's first move. He's got his suit on. And he's facing off against Professor. I guess we don't know why they're so pissed at each other, but we can come up with that. Come up with that in a minute.
We're not going to try and justify why they're angry at each other every single.
I kind of feel like we should a little bit.
My God!
I want to make the first move.
Well, okay. At least I was about to say. Well, at least Professor X and the armor are from the same universe, so Pikachu's like multiversed over into the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marvel world anyway. Not
okay. So why are they, what's the beef?
Professor X surely just sees Pikachu as a really fucked up little mutant.
He's trying to help.
Sort you out.
He's trying to help him, or is he trying to exterminate him? Does Professor X like sometimes discover mutants and just be like, nah, not joining the X-Men today?
Yeah, maybe he's worried that this may be the first one that's actually able to breed with the wildlife, and he doesn't want to have like loads of mutant animals out and about as well.
Nah, I'm not coming to the academy today, motherfucker.
That's him verbatim.
Okay, Pikachu's first move. I think classic. He's just gonna power up. I think it's a charge up move. He's standing there and Pikachuing it for real. That's his first move. He's getting a big one going.
Well, I just feel that the first thing Professor X would do is he'd hover into the treehouse. He'd move in. He may. I mean, as long as the door's wide enough, I'm going to suggest that it is
just bonking against the sides of the door.
He just can't get in. And then I'm guessing he's just forcing like the rock out in front of him to meet the lightning bolt from Pikachu, and then trying to sort of, like when you do a more powerful attack and it goes all the way down the length of your own one and tries to like smack him in the hand or whatever,
okay.
With his fucking
so the rock's
rock
flying through the lightning bolt that Pikachu just like blasts out like Pika!
Yeah, trying to like deflect it.
But the rock comes through and just like bonks off his head and he's like boink. Alright.
Professor X then's just like, oh no, my fucking rock.
Yeah, that was it. That was my special move. Pikachu, I think Pikachu, he goes just like straight up. He uses one of those like swift, fast attacks and just like bursts straight through the roof, and you can hear him scuttling around like a fucking mouse on the roof right above Professor X.
I mean, it depends what kind of Professor X we're talking about here, whether it's like comic book ones or movie ones, I should say. Well, if you go for comics, then Professor X could just be like, okay, I will scramble his brain, which is a bit...
He's wearing the Iron Man helmet, though, so...
He is, but... I mean, Iron Man is famously weak against like magic and stuff, and this is like telekinesis. I don't know. Certainly not.
Okay, so pull your punch a little bit, just so we can spread out the segment a little. I mean, we are.
He matches. Okay, so he's just going to make Pikachu just be surrounded by his worst nightmares, like Ash Ketchum, like thousands of dead Ash Ketchum, like as far as the eye can see, and just like him screaming,
just falling from the sky like raining stone. When Ash is just turned into stone, he's just like lumping it down.
Yeah, like in the movie.
Boom, boom, like almost like taking the tree down and stuff. Pikachu's just freaking out.
And there's just Gary laughing in the background. Just like,
what a cunt. And I think Pikachu, the only way to get out of this is through Jarvis's sweet, sweet dulcet tones. Just like, Master, time to get your head in the game. Pikachu's, that's just going to snap him out of it, as he's just going to electrify the whole tree, because, they're famously good at conducting electricity. But it's Pikachu. So he's just going to go like full nuclear energy and just like electrifies the whole tree. The whole thing like explodes from the inside. The treehouse just like barely holding on to half the tree as it's like teetering as gravity is about to pull it down. But Professor X, what's he going to do about that?
I mean, I just feel like Professor X's chair is going to be very well grounded, as in an electrical sense, and he could just—it's just a bit of splinters for him. He's not actually touching anything, so the electricity shouldn't actually get to him. And then he probably just—I mean, I'm struggling with this one because I just think if this actually happened, Professor X would be popping the heads off of Pikachu's like fucking heads.
No, I get it.
I just don't think he'd stand a chance. I think Professor X at this point would just be like, this guy's too much trouble, and just crush the helmet on Pikachu's skull with his little ears pointing out.
So Pikachu tried really hard, but at the end of the day, just Pikachu! And just gets like just mashed into a little pea-shaped ball.
I mean, unless you have like Professor X versus like Dr. Manhattan, I really think it's going to be a struggle for a lot of people to beat Professor
I think we're going to
X.
come into a lot of these issues with this game. So
yeah,
it's whenever Cartman from South Park comes up, no one can win.
True.
So I think that's fair. I think Pikachu had a good run. He tried his best. I mean, all he's got is like one fucking attack. Let's be honest. And
Oh, he has quick attack. You forgot quick attack.
That's what I did through the fucking roof, straight out of the treehouse, but it wasn't enough. Well, quick attack is just running fast against Professor X, who can like blend
your mind.
So it was a tough matchup. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean, Pikachu walked into this one. The odds heavily against him.
I'm surprised he survived so long. To be fair, I mean, the rock was a dire moment, but
I'm glad he had a proper use for that fucking rock though.
All right.
It had to be a fucking rock as well. But anyway, yeah, so on to the next segment we have, which is movie stuff. Isaac, do you want to explain what we do in movie
I mean, it's
stuff?
pretty straightforward. Like a million other podcasts out there. It's watch a movie and then talk about it. And it could be...
Wait. There are other podcasts out there?
There are so many podcasts which do this shit.
You told me that we were the first to do a podcast.
You are
very upset.
gullible as shit.
I'm very upset with you.
So we pick a movie. Obviously, we didn't have an episode to say what we were going to be watching next, so you probably don't know. But Lewis picked this one. I didn't think it had quite the deep well of comedy that we might be able to pull out of it. But there were some moments that I was surprised. We watched what year was it, Lewis? Well, I think it was like 2018.
2017?
I'm just gonna... 2017.
I win. We need to have just a point score system for this whole podcast, I've decided right now.
To see who wins.
Keep score of little tiny things. just forever we'll keep one going. And I'm 1-0. And we'll just have the final at the end
2-0, because you just beat me as Professor X, I guess, if we're going to be counting things. That was me.
Ooh, interesting. That was a wonderful.
Yeah, just a little ear candy for you. So, ear candy sounds... well, greasy at least. We pick a film, we talk about it. Lewis picked Logan 2017. If anyone, just a quick synopsis for anyone who hasn't seen it. Obviously, there's going to be fucking spoilers, so don't be an idiot. It's about it's Wolverine, as in X-Men Wolverine, kind of at the end of his career,
Logan.
I guess. He's Logan. He's old. The X-Men world is old around him. Things are pretty bleak. And the synopsis is he tries to save a kid. I mean, we don't really need to go much more into it. A mutant kid. There's been some new mutants, and they need to save them. Shocker, right? Pretty straightforward.
So, yeah, I mean, and I just want to start off by saying, number one, this is a fantastic film. This is a real top quality film.
Well, adding into that, what I like about it the most is this is 2017. Remember, so there's been a string of MCU movies, which all have a similar like age rating, a similar kind of demographic.
Audience.
Yeah, exactly. And then I went to see I think I went to see it at the cinema, and it comes on. It's all kind of bleak, and it starts with Logan just face down in the back of his own limo, and the first word of the script is "fuck." And it's just like we hadn't seen that for a while in MCU, so it's just like, oh, okay, so there's a little bit more mature.
Well, it's not MCU.
No, okay, Marvel movies, whatever.
Yeah,
we haven't seen that before.
Marvel
so he goes,
property.
Fuck, and then he gets out of his car and just like racially attacks a bunch of Mexican gangsters and just brutalizes them, like just chopping off arms and shit.
Well, I don't think you could say he's racially.
No, I was just making it
provocated the situation.
I was making it slightly more amusing. If you find that thing amusing, I guess.
But I just love how that first fight scene just sets the whole.
That's what
tone.
I'm saying. It's not that.
One of his
fuck is what sets the tone. That was my point.
Yeah. But then how he's trying to get his claws out, and one of them like comes out like halfway, and then like he's immediately lopping limbs off, and it's just like, if you've seen the greatness that is Hugh Jackman in these X-Men films for all these years, you've just been sitting there just like, I just want to see this guy
just murdering people,
lop some goddamn limbs off. I just want to see him ruin people.
Yeah, he's got one power, and it's murder.
And it's just like, first 5 minutes into the film, it's just like, okay, he's slaughtered 4 people who, and they kind of deserved it. It's one way of putting it, but I mean,
well,
they weren't nice.
It's
people.
what I want to see in a superhero. It's like Deadpool gives you a bit of it, but it's very silly. The Boys kind of, I know it's not MCU or anything to do with it, but that kind of the superhero side of things, but fucking grim and nasty and gory, because that's what they do. Like they're too strong to be like allowed in society.
Well, I think that's kind of a theme of this film. Like they weren't abided by in society, and so
exterminated.
What's his name? I can't remember the doctor's name. I watched this like a week ago, but what's the actor's name? Richard E. Grant. His character is, I mean, this guy. Whenever I've seen him on screen,
the son of the guy that made Wolverine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah. But my God, he's
I
good
love
in
Richard E.
this.
Grant. He's always brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, his spell in Loki as well is just so good. He steals the show. Like, I can imagine he won't ever come back, but my God, I'd love him back in a Loki film in some capacity.
That was very good. But anyway, we're diverging from what we're fucking talking about. So
Indeed.
Wolverine, Logan messes up a bunch of gangsters and then goes and ejaculates some bullets into a sink. He just goes, and they just like squeeze out of him, and it's very sexual. And he's kind of staring at himself in the mirror, kind of like narcissistically.
Like he's old and terrible, but like far fitter than I'll ever be at the same time.
Just Hugh Jackman being awesome. And then the next kind of, there were some cool bits, like not just the gore and the swearing and stuff, like that's all great, but there were some cool like cinematography things as well. I liked Wheelie Patrick Stewart when he's just Professor Xing it. Well, I guess we're on theme, aren't we? We've got Professor X again. He's just wheeling around, chatting shit in his like tipped over silo, or is it like a water tank or something? And it's. But I was going to say they do a cool job because, like the shot they make of him in his wheelchair sitting in the middle of the room, and then there's this like all the bullet holes or like holes in the side of the water tank, and it gives that kind of, it's like Cerebro from the old movies, but with all the pinpricks of light being the mutants, but it's just this rotten shell that he now wheels around in. And I thought it was just perpetuating that theme of everything's gone to shit and they're all in the dust and grim. It's just life now sucks.
Yeah, I mean, the imagery that they do there is so good, and I love the sort of like the fact that it's like implied but never actually said that basically Professor X killed all the other X-Men. Like the ones left in his school. Obviously there was like the ones in the greater world which got killed with I think they said they put it in food in the water and stuff, something which killed them off. But the whole thing about like...
He has a seizure.
very much into. Yeah, he has one of his seizures, and Wolverine is like one of the only people because of his regeneration that can get there and stop it. And then they're just like drugging Professor X up for the rest of the time. And then I love how he becomes like such a fucking baby at points in the film, and he's just like, "No, I'm not taking it." Just like, you've nearly killed people so many times in this film, and you're always just like, "Oh no, I don't want to hurt anyone. Oh no, let's try and protect this one little girl." But he's like he could be killing dozens of people every time he has a seizure, and he's just like, "Nah, I don't need that medicine. That's for losers."
I gotta keep my strength up for this cool wheelie I'm gonna do.
Yeah, but then they also give him like ridiculously like sweet moments when he's being like telling Logan like, "Logan, you should have a family, Logan."
I mean,
and like and on the like freeway bit where they've got the trucks going by, and he like uses his power to calm the horses. Horses, clippity cloppity. But yeah, it's just like a really nice little moment, like where they sort of show that like he does still have this compassion, even if he's making some fucking stupid decisions by rejecting to take his medicine.
Yeah. I mean, similarly to Richard E. Grant, like you can't fault Patrick Stewart, no matter what he's doing. So like
all the performances in this film are great.
That was going to lead me to my next point. The weakest bit of this movie, and it's probably the reason that people don't really talk about it anymore. The baddie sucks. He's just like...
Oh, do you mean the tattoo neck guy?
Yeah, exactly. Who the fuck is he? You don't know who he is. He's tattoo neck guy, gold tooth guy. Like, who the fuck are... Like, he just walks around acting like he owns the place. We have no idea who he is. And we never really find out either. So it's just like, I have...
Well, now that you mention it, he does nothing impressive in the film.
Where's the special move? Where's the, anything useful that you do? And I just... what a waste of time. They could have done something much cooler, and they fucked it.
Well, I mean, it was meant to be based on Old Man Logan, but if you have any idea about what that is in the comics, it's so far off. Because in the comics, it's literally like the Hulk has like loads of incestuous children, which rules like the middle of America, and Wolverine and Hawkeye, who is now blind, take a road trip across America in the Spider-Man car.
What? Why did they make that movie? I want to see Hulk's incestuous children.
Yeah, they're like, it's like proper hillbilly shit, and and America's split up, and like the Red Skull's the president of one bit, and maybe like Norman Osborn is like in charge of another bit, and it's really random. Like I haven't actually read it, but I've heard stuff about it, and I'm just like, okay, when they said this was based on Old Man Logan, they were using that.
There's a reason I never dove into the comics. It's just crazy fucking shit over there. Like it's too much. There's like 1,000 different Spider-Men, and I'm over it. But back to Logan. Yeah, baddie fucking terrible. I like all the baddies' cronies, like soldiers with assault rifles. And once the girl shows up, the little girl who has Wolverine, it's like Wolverine's daughter.
Well, a clone,
when she kind of shows up, starts beating the crap out of people. There was a bit like
that's so good.
The action's great. But I mean, it's classic in all movies, especially guys with assault rifles. But like, I was just, if you took like a 20-second bit of when she's fighting, all you can, if you watch like the periphery, it's just all these dudes with assault rifles slowly walking up to her and getting killed one by one. Like they've got assault rifles, and they just, you just killed 18 of my friends? I'm just gonna walk towards you, and just gets fucking murdered. And it's just like, I know it's a movie trope, but it's like, come on guys, don't show them on screen like walking slowly from the background.
Yeah, but that happens in like every movie. There's the classic one from, I think it's Dark Knight Rises, where you watch like it's like a GIF that's been going around for ages, and like one of the guys in the background like proper like shimmies over and then just like goes flop and then falls back, and like no one threw a punch or a kick near him. But he's just in the background of the scene.
What's the actor doing? Like, oh no, but like it'd be really cool if Batman him. They'll edit it in.
Yeah. Like, at least wait until you're fake punched or something. But no, they should make better tropes for it. But I mean, what else can you do? Because otherwise, everyone is just like basically just spinning around like a fucking tornado with like a dagger out, just so no one can get close to them. Like it is frustrating, but I mean, overall, I think the action scenes were great. The last one when he like juices up and he's running
definitely
through...
made a note of that. And my note is on drugs in the woods was awesome.
Like his like when he's so animalistic in that part of the film, like he's gone like proper feral, and it's so good. Like he looks grey and gaunt, and he's just this horrible old bastard, and he's just ripping through.
Speaking of animalistic, I went for some Pringles because once you pop, you just can't stop. And so I put some subtitles on because I didn't want to turn it up too loud. And it was just at the bit when very feral Hugh Jackman, the other Wolverine, like the next step, when the mutant kids are a failure, so they made a new Wolverine instead, and it's way better. When that one shows up, one shows up and murders Xavier, one thing, fucking dark as shit. But after that, when I had the subtitles on, I was munching my Pringles, and it was Hugh Jackman versus Hugh Jackman. The subtitles were just great. It was just like the closed caption, both grunting, straining, and then continue panting, and it was really good because that's all that you could do. It's just like that's just so good.
Does the other one actually say a word?
No, I think that's the point. He has no personality.
So he's just grunting. Yeah. He's just literally Hugh Jackman. They're just like, that's a great grunt track there.
I just saw the.
We're going to need another one.
I just saw the closed caption of both grunting come up on the thing, and I was like, yeah, you nailed it. You can just leave that up on the screen for the whole fight. It was still a fun fight. I mean, and again, baddie a little bit weak. I hate clone fights in films. I mean, it's just a bit of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was still a bit better than just the regular sort of way that they do that, being that it was meant to be just this young version of him, like ruthlessly him. I mean, it was a better spin on it than you normally get. But I mean, one of the things I remember about the film is that I love how he's just like Professor X again, making terrible goddamn decisions. It's just like, oh yeah, we're being chased by this army, but let's go stay with this lovely family.
I wrote that down. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and then as soon as they're like, oh no, there's these people causing us trouble, and they've turned off our water and power or whatever, Professor X is just like, Logan, would you like to go help? It's just like, you know what Logan's going to do, and it's going to not make anything fucking better for anyone. Everyone that they meet, even just the hotel they check into, everyone suffers. Like, all the old people in that hotel when Professor X had that seizure are dead. Like, it's showing fit, young, healthy people just about getting through it. So everyone over the age of, I'd say, 64.
64, that's pretty specific.
Just done. Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm tired now and I'm 31.
That's when it just teeters off the edge at 64. That's it. Straight into the nursing home. Let's wrap this segment up, kind of bring it to a close. I just wanted to quickly mention, why the fuck don't the kids use their powers more when they're running away? Like, you see like 2 or 3 of them do it, and there's like 20 kids. Like, what are the rest of their powers? Like growing fingernails really fast or something? Do you know what I mean? It's like, why are you just running? You must have something more powerful than this for them to hunt you.
One of you literally has the power over like vines and stuff, like,
and you do it to like one guy.
Could have used
Make a big wall or something. Like, think this through. Like, fucking kids.
Like, do something. Do something. My last point about this film is, you know, when Hugh Jackman gets cast in a film, normally you get Hugh Jackman, right? When they cast Hugh Jackman in this film, you got 2 Jackman. That's where I'm going to leave off.
Oh, but I had one more point to make. So, apart from your killer punchline, they should have called it Wolverine, 2 Jackman. No. I wanted to end it on a serious note, because that's what we're here for. Serious feels and
serious stuff.
Serious stuff. Yeah, I'm going to end up with some serious stuff. Bringing it back full circle to the first point I made, where this is not the MCU movies that people have been watching for 10 years or whatever. I remember doing it in the cinema, and I know everyone else did beside me in the cinema. We were waiting for a post-credits scene, and there wasn't one. And that hadn't happened. That hadn't happened for a long time. And I thought that was really cool, because Wolverine's actually fucking dead. And it was nail in the coffin, done. That's it. And everyone's sitting around in the cinema, and the lights just come up, and we're all just like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's it then." Oh, all right, I get it. But
I mean, I don't even think it's necessarily connected to the other X-Men films, specifically because in X-Men 3, The Last Stand, Professor X gets obliterated. He gets, like, atomized.
Yeah, it's just a random X-Men movie, isn't it? Yeah.
Technically, yes, he at the end, there is a post-credit scene in that one, and he has a twin brother who's, like, in a coma or something and brain dead, and, oh, look, he transfers into his body. But that's bullshit,
Jackman.
so let's not talk about it. 3 Jackman. Patrick Stewart.
Wait, what? There was a post-credit scene at the end of Logan, am I wrong? Are you talking about... Yeah.
No, there's a post-credit scene at the end of X-Men 3, The Last Stand.
Okay. I thought I wasn't completely wrong about that.
Yeah. During that film, Professor X gets, like, atomized by Jean Grey.
Yeah. I remember. It's cool.
And then at the end, in the post-credits, like, his brain-dead brother or whatever is in a coma.
the one that they keep on standby for organs and stuff.
Yeah, literally. Like, he's like Palpatine with, like, spare bodies in the extended universe.
Yeah, dumb shit. All right, let's wrap it up and move on, because we are racking up the time. I think we're moving on to, is it RPG stuff, Lewis? Do you want to give... I gave the rundown for the movie one. It's your turn.
So the RPG stuff, which we're going to get into today, is super kinky. No, it's not. But it could be, depending on what way things go.
Yeah, it depends on your reviews.
Yeah, maybe we'll have 3 guys start watching this podcast, and all of them want us to do something really creepy.
And we will do that.
We follow what the people want. We will do that.
Build it and they will come.
Exactly. So the situation is that both of us have sort of invented a little bit of a sci-fi based character and a little bit of a fantasy based character. Fantasy generally being the sort of Lord of the Rings, D&D sort of setting, that standard thing, and our sci-fi being, we haven't really discussed.
It's going to change. I think, we're going to take turns. So, like, one of us is going to be, like, if you don't know the RPG kind of format, there's one person who plays a character. They only play that character and they only make decisions for that character. Whereas the game master on the other side of the table is everything else in the world. They kind of describe what things look like and what people are in the tavern you're in or in the cantina or whatever. And anyone that this character interacts with is controlled by the game master. So we're going to take turns swapping seats to do the game master and the character. And today I'm going to be game mastering. And Lewis is going to be playing what his sci-fi character. We've never talked about. None of this is scripted. We don't know anything about what's going to happen. We're going to introduce a scenario, and that character is going to react to it. So my turn today is to do the scenario. But Lewis, we're going to do the sci-fi one today. Can you introduce just briefly, like, his name, what he looks like, if it's even a he? I don't even know. Who are we playing?
Oh, it is. So today I will be playing the lizard man from the planet Glop, whose name is Leslie Gleeblegorp.
Okay.
Gleeblegorp, not Glorp. So he is a smuggler. Tends to do such just luxury items sort of thing. You know, there's a high tax on this sort of thing. He's not smuggling bombs or drugs, like toilet paper and magazines and things like that.
In a pandemic.
Yeah, kind of.
He's
but
a
not
scalper.
No, he's not like one of those skeevy bastards who like bought like a whole garage full of like hand sanitizer. He's not hurting anyone. It's just that, you know, he's making a little crust for himself on the side there.
You are in your spaceship. What's it called and what does it look like?
It's called the All Hands on Deck, and
one word.
The All Hands on Deck. Yes.
Okay.
No, it all hands on, and then you get to the D for deck, and then it's apostrophe ECK.
Okay, it's like it's a lizard man colloquial term, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay.
They're very straightforward, functional people.
All hands on,
and it's shaped like a little curly prawn.
Okay, perfect. So you are just about to go through Hypergate security when several police drones flash their blues at you and a robotic voice says, "Citizen, you have randomly been selected for a hull search. Please thrust slowly into the designated inspection bay." What do you do?
Leslie's going to look around at his panel here, and he's going to go, for Christ's sake, I'm a little bit unsure on what I'm supposed to be doing here. Keys onto the mic and just goes, is there any reason that I was picked? I'm in a little bit of a hurry, if you don't mind.
I like that you've gone with the South African, Australian, New Zealand type vibe, because that's the one that I default to, so this is going to be really fun.
Buddy, I didn't know that you were here as well.
So you're trying to speak to these drones, and they just kind of repeat themselves. "Citizen, you have been randomly selected for hull search. Move immediately or be blasted out of space."
So I will set the ship to start moving to the designated area that they suggest. And I'm also going to tell my little droid, I have an android sidekick called Mark.
Okay.
Because he's a helper droid Mark IV, so I just call him Mark.
Just Mark, like there's so many Marks.
Yeah.
What's he look like? What kind of anatomy are we talking about? Is this a C-3PO? Is this a bucket bot? What?
Oh no, it's going to sound like C-3PO, but it's going to look like a giant spider demon sort of monster.
like something from your home planet, which is like a most feared predator.
Yeah, let's go for that. Why not? But it's actually just super helpful, and it has no violent functions.
Oh, Master! Are we having a stop at port? I could do with seeing my girlfriend.
All right, mate. Well, that's you might want to put it back in your pants for now. But if you wouldn't mind starting to hide the bits and bobs that we're smuggling today.
Powering down my pants.
What?
He scuttles away. I can't help but see like C-3PO's head on top of this nasty demon spider, but that's just me.
Yeah, but spray painted black.
Hiding the bits as it goes off to go and hide the bits, and then you hear the doorbell to your spacecraft. Ding dong. What does the doorbell sound like?
Well, I think he just summed it up quite nicely with a ding dong.
It just goes ding dong, but it's like a person saying it. Ding dong. Are you going to open up inside, little piggy?
Yes, if you could just provide me with one moment so I can put on my dressing gown. I tend to fly in the nude. Gets a little hot on this spacecraft. And he keys off the comm without waiting for an answer.
It just cuts him off.
And just runs off into his ship and gets his biggest fishing net.
Fishing net? Okay.
Just gets a big old fishing net.
We're going this direction. Are you opening the door for them or not?
After I, sort of tie the net onto the ceiling above the door with a little drawstring that I can pull to release it.
Okay, really
I got a hook and a bit of string.
This is the sci-fi universe, guys. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not going to try and blast these people. He has respect.
He's got a net. Why would you?
Leslie's not a mean-spirited man. Or lizard man.
Are you opening the door? Letting them in?
Yeah, good afternoon. As you can see, there's nothing funny going on in here. So, if we're done with the review...
We haven't even started the review. The door opens the door. Okay. Shooks open. And you see like quite a squat, sweaty, balding man accompanied by two what looks like Halo Master Chief robots. So big, hench-looking soldier robots, essentially. You know they're robots, but they look like men. And he comes paddling in. He's this little man with a German accent, apparently. The top half looks fairly normal and human, but the bottom half is quite slug-like as he slops into the room. And goes, "Oh my, no, you're right. It is very hot in here. Excuse me, your dressing gown is parted in ways I do not want to see. Please."
Well, it's not my fault. You've walked into my space here, but thank God you're actually here. I didn't want to mention it before on the intercom, but there's a monster back there. There's an android or something. He's called Mark, and he's captured me, got me to fly this ship here for him. It's full of contraband back there.
Oh, this is grave news. Roll. Let's make a first roll. I think. See how persuasive you might be. So for this game, we're using powered by the apocalypse rules, but very stripped down and very straightforward. What that means is we're going to roll 2d6, which is two 6-sided dice. I'm going to add those together, and the total is going to kind of determine the outcome. So if between 1 and 6, it's a failure. Between 7 and 9, it's a mixed success. So you do what you want, but something else happens. And a 10 plus is a critical success. You do it and then some. So Lewis, do you want to roll me 2d6?
It's not a good one. That's a 5.
All right, oh no, that's the wrong voice. You see, it's my default.
Amateur.
A little robot. I mean, yeah, we've got it on the scans, and we heard you go to tell it to hide some bits. You know there are audio inside your ships, all of these ships, yeah?
No, you don't understand. He's got the ability to mock my own voice, and so he's set me up by saying that. If you see on the thing, he says that to me, and then he goes off to try and hide his own bits. Whereas my bits, I've left in here. I've exposed my bits to you.
You've exposed all too many bits to me, sir. I do not believe these lies, and I must be honest. We had the video feed. You went to go and get your dressing gown. You do not seem in too much distress. Arrest him, boys, and we will search this vessel. And the soldiers march forward.
Well, I think possibly you forgot this, and out of my dressing gown, I pull a lighter out of my pocket and just hold it up under the water suppression system.
The water suppression system. The fire
suppression system. Yes.
Okay.
Just try and make the sprinklers go on.
Okay. Sure. I don't think that's going to require a roll, but as soon as you kind of pull out the lighter and pull it up, the soldiers who have now moved in front of Slugman have just raised their weapons, and you hear that. It's like the powering up of their pulse rifles aiming at you. What happens when the sprinklers go off?
I mean, I'm guessing not a lot, but if they are robots, then it might interfere with them slightly, because the makers of these obviously very sophisticated, expensive robots didn't think to waterproof them.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely does not work. And no role involved here. These are high-tech, hypergate security robots. The water just kind of splashes off them. The Slugman, on the other hand, is... Oh no, is this salinated water? And he just starts like fizzing and sizzling behind these robots as the salty water starts to trickle onto him. Not very good for slugs. And he starts to
not very good for the spaceships as well. It would rust it.
Well, you don't know. Maybe it's a plastic spaceship. We haven't decided. Everything's fair game.
No, it's wood. Fuck it, it's wood.
It's a wooden lizard man wooden ship. That's also really good for water, just like warping the whole thing.
It would swell it. It would seal up any gaps.
Oh, that's perfect. It's all part of the plan. The Slugman slithers off backwards, but the robots open fire. I think you take at least a couple of bullets. They're pulse rounds, so they're just like breaking ribs whenever bone they hit, kind of just like shatters them. I'm not saying that's what happens to you, but when you get hit by one of these, they just kind of concuss you. So what happens to you when you get fired at?
I'm gonna just suggest that old Les will drop down to the ground into the water, where he's also quite familiar, being amphibious.
Into the water, so the sprinkler
just like the water on the ground. It's not like made of no. It's not like made of pool yet, but the ground's wet, so he just drops to the ground.
He belly flops, and then
where he can get, his robe has fallen open, so he's got the extra slippery lack of traction on the ground. Pushes off from the wall and just tries to take out the legs of both of them.
All right, definitely a roll there.
Oh yeah, go on, Les. Oh, 6.
So you jump onto the floor and just try to push yourself sliding towards these robots, and you just kind of come to a stop instead of like having enough momentum to like take out these robots, you come to a stop right in front of them, and they just come mechanically like look down at you, and one of them just pulls out what looks like a cattle prod. And just shoves it into your chest, and so you start just like writhing and wriggling with the electricity like pulsing through you, and the water all over the place as well. Just likes to amplify it a little bit for you.
Yeah, I think Les is probably in some trouble then, because he's not a particularly violent man. He was just going to try and trip him up. So
okay, well, where's Mark?
Well, Mark will be back in the hold.
Okay, he's not coming out to help.
No, he's filling his orders. So he was. Going around hiding the bits and bobs in walls, all the various loo rolls, the deodorant, these luxury items that the lizard people, the lizard people don't normally get, and like these big sort of like rats basically. Oh, they love them. Delicacy.
Okay, live.
Nah,
just a bunch of dead rats in a crate.
Pickled.
Space rats. Okay. As Leslie is rolled over and cuffed with electro-space cuffs, obviously. What's he going to do? Because I feel like this scenario is about to end with like pretty disappointingly. What's he going to do to get out of this one?
Hey, no. Not everything has to be about winning. Not everything has to be. Sometimes. Maybe he's getting into the prison for a reason. Maybe this is all part of Les's grand scheme.
Sometimes you just suck.
Yeah, sometimes you also just roll twice quite poorly. And Mark is going to continue to do his work, but then as he can hear people approaching, what you see is Mark's head sort of lift off and sort of float into a cupboard, and then the door closes behind it, and it's like a secret little bit, and this sort of new little head pops up on top of Mark, and it seems that Mark has split his consciousness to perhaps do something clever later.
Okay, and Leslie has any final words while he's being hauled away by the intergalactic police?
Would you mind grabbing me some pairs of pants? I've got my penis hanging out here. It's my lizard penis, if you see it there. It's a bit like, when you see a dog's penis, but instead of getting the hair around the shaft, it's all scaly. But look there. There's a little red lipstick.
Oh, you will not need that where you are going.
I won't need my penis.
Absolutely not.
Oh dear.
I've heard it is a delicacy where you are going.
Well, I hope they will be delicate with it.
I think you misunderstand. And you start walking up towards the prison barge that's located nearby. Well, that didn't go quite how I thought it was going to go, Lewis. I thought it was going to be some daring, heroic escape, and you just floundered twice and got carted off to jail.
Well, Leslie's just not the sort of guy. Like, maybe not everyone's the hero in the story. So that's the sort of level of excitement I want to bring to our listeners.
So every time we play Leslie, he's just gonna fuck it so hard.
Well, no, you never know. Leslie might pull stuff off, but he's not like, he's just wanting to make a little bit of a crust on the side. He's just trying to make some money to feed his family, and maybe he doesn't want to Luke Skywalker it and break into the trash compactor chute. And do butt stuff.
I know how we were saying we weren't going to do like continuity to these stories, but I kind of need to know what happens to Leslie next time.
Well, let's remember where Leslie was.
We'll keep it loose. Sometimes we could do something non sequitur, and the other time we can maybe carry on the story. Anyway,
so you're going to have these like short little epic adventures, and I'm just going to have the lumberings of Leslie as he just wanders around.
It's a good title. We're coming up to the hour mark. I don't think we've got time for any more segments today. That was RPG stuff. So just as we kind of wrap it up at the end, I just wanted to say that we do have an email address. It's nothingbutstuff, double T in the butt, at gmail.com. Double T in the butt. Nothingbutstuff at gmail.com. Feel free to email anything, really. Little review, encouragement,
Movie suggestions? What movie are we listening to next week as well, Isaac?
I'd rather watch a movie, Lewis. But if we're just going to listen to a movie, I'm sure that might change my decision.
I fucking hate you.
Next week, if you guys wanted to catch up and watch the movie before we start talking about it, we're going to be watching a hideously, a pretty disgusting B movie. I think
it's the porno Isaac made 10 minutes before we started recording this.
It's made in 2020. It's called Psycho Goreman, and the premise is that basically a young girl discovers an ancient alien overlord and somehow gains control of it. It looks fucking ridiculous, and I'm super up for it.
I watched the first half of the trailer you sent me, and was just don't even want to see the rest. I'm so on board. This looks
amazing.
It looks like it should have Nicolas Cage in it. It's like that exact sort of B movie level that Nicolas Cage seems to be doing all the time at the moment, but it looks fucking hilarious.
Not just at the moment, just all the time forever. No, there's so many movies no one knows about with Nicolas Cage in. Anyway, let's not dive into Nicolas Cage. I'm sure I'd love to dive into Nicolas Cage, but
we need to do a Nicolas Cage episode.
Psycho Goreman will be on next time. Remember to subscribe, download, review. It all helps us massively.
Tell your friends.
Send us an email if you like. Yeah, word of mouth, super important. So that's basically it, Lewis. Is there anything else you wanted to cap it off with?
Just if no one listens to this, I will be sad, and
I'll be happy if your mum listens to it, which she will.
Oh, I hope not.
All right, man.
Brilliant. Well, yes. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we'll watch that movie and get back to you next week on Nothing But Stuff.
Nothing but stuff. Stuff in your butt. Nothing but stuff. It's stuff in the butt.
I'm pretty sure we could fit more stuff in the butt, Lewis.
I don't know about yours, but I'm topped out.
Right.
I'm brimming.
That's it. Done. Cut.
Sweet. Bye. Bam, 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 ba-down, bam, ba-down, bam, 2 T's in the butt.
Perfect. Pitch perfect.
You're welcome, everyone.
Welcome to our little public service announcement. Turns out you should probably make the social media stuff before you start a podcast. So we're just going to chuck this in at the end.
No, this feels natural this way.
This feels, you're going to hear this a couple more times. We did all the review email stuff. It's just going to add on the Instagram and Twitter. Come and follow us. Come and chat to Lewis and Isaac themselves. And listen to just droning and quiet times.
With 2 T's in your butt.
It's at NB Stuff Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. Thank you.
Cheers. Three, 2, 1. Bam, 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 ba-down, 2 T's in the butt. We've got that so wrong.
Try it again. You can just cut it. Keep recording.